Down, down.
Oh, back up. That is completely out of touch and an insult to the intelligence of the American people and the lived experience.
From Ivy League valedictorian to a fugitive wanted for murder, Luigi Nicholas Mangione, a 26-year-old Ivy League graduate from a prominent Maryland real estate family, was arrested in Pennsylvania on Monday and charged with the murder of UnitedHealthcare's CEO Brian Thompson in New York City. Today, we dive into the details about Luigi and his unbelievable capture thanks to a McDonald's employee. Welcome back to Kharisma Daily. Now, first, a little background. Police in Altoona, Pennsylvania, apprehended Luigi Mangione, who was the suspect of killing UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson in Manhattan. Now, this happened all last week, where it's alleged that he shot the CEO on his way to an annual investor conference at the Hilton Hotel in Midtown Manhattan. Now, the shooting kicked off a nationwide manhunt that captured the public's interest and renewed the debate over access to health care. Mangione, originally from Townsend, Maryland, was recognized by a McDonald's worker who tipped off law enforcement. When police arrived, Mangione provided a fake ID, the same one he allegedly used to check into a hostel in New York. Mangione had been off the grid for over a year, with friends reportedly worried about his disappearance. His family has largely remained silent, though his sister shared a cryptic "praying for you" message on Instagram. Let's take a listen.
New York police and prosecutors finally have their suspect, and now they shift to building their case against Luigi Mangione, the man now charged with the murder in the killing of a health insurance executive. Evidence seized appears to provide a direction for investigators.
We don't think that there's any specific threats to other people mentioned in that document, but it does seem that he has some ill will toward corporate America.
These are the images that give us the first full look at the suspect. He's now in a Pennsylvania prison, not far from where he was arrested, in a McDonald's restaurant after a manhunt that riveted the world's attention. Pennsylvania authorities say 26-year-old Mangione is now charged with gun and other offenses there. But within hours of his arrest, New York authorities say they have formally charged him as well with second-degree murder in the killing of health insurance CEO Brian Thompson. Investigators say they believe they now have the gun and other evidence linked to the ambush shooting.
There were a number of items that were found on his person, in his backpack, that have been inventoried, and we've begun to do an analysis of some of those. There were written documents.
U.S. media are reporting phrases like "it had to be done" and "the parasites had it coming." Those are included in the 3-page document. The reports add there is no mention of the victim, but his company is named. Police have confirmed bullet casings found at the shooting scene had the words "deny, delay, and depose" written on them, language that references tactics used by insurance companies in legal fights over claims. Police say they also seized a so-called ghost gun, a 3D printed weapon and suppressor that resembles the weapon used in the shooting. There are revelations, too, from people who knew Luigi Mangione. They say he complained about debilitating back pain and posted about it on social media. CNN reporter Lee Waldman begins our coverage this morning with more on what we're learning about Mangione. She's reporting from just outside the prison where he's being held.
This is someone who came from a very wealthy background, a very healthy upbringing from his family. What we're learning about him online is, yes, he was the valedictorian from his high school. He went to an Ivy League college. We know that his last known address, he was living in Hawaii. But we also know that he publicly kept track of the nearly 300 books that he either read or had wanted to read. And one of those books was the Unabomber manifesto that he had favorably reviewed on an online website. Now, when he was arrested, he also had a manifesto of sorts with him that police had uncovered. Now, sources with law enforcement have not let us see this document that he had with him, but have unveiled some of the specifics, stating that it had ill will toward corporate America.
So again, police looking at some of these indications as being potential motive. We have charges in Pennsylvania. We have the charges late last night, including that second-degree murder charge from New York. How is this process going to play out, Lee, and what do we watch for next in this case?
Well, Heather, we know that he had his first initial arraignment in Pennsylvania last night before being taken to this state prison behind us. With those charges that came in from New York, we know that there will be an extradition process to get him back to New York so that he can face those charges. At this point, we're waiting to see when exactly that extradition will take place. He does have another court appearance, though, set on December 23rd here in Pennsylvania. So we're waiting to see when all of that will happen, if they're going to waive that initial court appearance or that second court appearance in Pennsylvania for the extradition that will happen in New York. We know that detectives with NYPD and also with the FBI, they came here to Pennsylvania to begin their questioning of Mangione. So we're seeing a lot of this process already starting to play out. They're not waiting for the extradition to happen here.
That's CNN reporter Lee Waldman from just outside the prison. Reporters at his Pennsylvania arraignment say Mangione had no lawyer and spoke for himself. If he chooses to start a legal fight over being moved to New York to face the murder charge, that will lead to a lengthy formal process that could take weeks to resolve.
And there you have it. Now, it's interesting to me that this all sort of transpired and led to an arrest in about a matter of a week. And now they've, have the suspect in custody. He's been charged. They supposedly have the gun that was used, the manifesto, and all these things. But yet, when the assassination attempt on Donald Trump's life, I don't even think that they were able to crack into the assassinator's phone up to this point, or I don't think we've ever seen the manifesto or anything. And that happened months ago, back in July, I believe. And here we are, within about a week, we pretty much have this case all tied up nice and perfectly. Now, that may sound like a conspiracy theorist kind of thinking, but to me, it sounds too perfect. Like he was arrested at a McDonald's. Somebody recognized him at a McDonald's. You're going to go to a McDonald's, you just committed murder. Someone who recognized you, and then you sat at your computer in McDonald's until the cops arrived. Then you gave them fake ID. Very, very interesting. And it gives me feelings for pause, because it's just too perfect. This is all has come together just too perfect. But I digress. Let's move on. Now, when he was arrested, he refused to talk to authorities about upon his arrest. Law enforcement officials revealed that Mangione stayed silent throughout his preliminary arraignment, adding another layer of mystery to this already complex case. Now, evidence found was $8,000 in cash, $2,000 in foreign currency, a passport, and a Faraday bag designed to block communication signals. Now, Mangione claimed in court that the money may have been planted, casting doubt on the legitimacy of the evidence presented by prosecutors. Now, that's another thing. So he didn't deny the gun is his. He didn't say, well, I didn't commit this murder, what I'm being arrested for. He talked about the money. He said the money wasn't his. Take a listen.
Sure thing, Aaron. Well, yeah, I'll say just about an hour ago, I was there inside that courthouse watching as Luigi Mangione walked right past myself and a number of other reporters. He was wearing a blue shirt, blue jeans. He was, of course, handcuffed. And he looked, even in this court appearance, visibly distressed, but he kept his brow furrowed through the duration of this arraignment hearing. And I should say what was interesting, though, Aaron, is you said we haven't heard a statement from the suspect. He did actually speak inside of that courtroom to the judge and to all the folks who were in there, but it was on very selective issues, and I'll just kind of go through what we heard. The judge asked Luigi Mangione a number of questions, first about his identity. So Mr. Mangione confirmed that that is his real name. He initially said that his residence was in Maryland, but then the judge actually pressed him on that, and then he said, actually, I have lived at various addresses before then ultimately giving an address in Honolulu, Hawaii. Then he also said that he has worked for 3 years as a data engineer up until about a year ago, and he also told the judge that he has no drug or mental health problems that the court needs to know about. But Aaron, one of the most interesting parts of that particular hearing was actually his statements after the conversation about bail. The prosecutors basically stepped up there and made the case why they believe that this man should be held without bail. They mentioned that he is awaiting potentially an arrest warrant coming from New York City as one of the major reasons. But they also said that prosecutors noted that they found him with $8,000 in U.S. cash, $2,000 in foreign currency, his passport, and also a Faraday bag, which is basically a bag designed to stop transmission of cell service or other sort of things like that. At the end of his speech, the prosecutor's speech, Luigi Mangione said, I actually want to address two of the things that you said. He said, I don't know where that money came from. I'm not sure if it was planted. And then he also said that that bag was waterproof. And the term that the prosecutors used when discussing the Faraday bag, the ghost guns, the 3D printed silencer, was the prosecutors used a phrase saying this is criminal sophistication. Luigi Mangione said, I don't know about any of this criminal sophistication when addressing that. But it's just interesting, Aaron, that of all of the things that were mentioned in that court appearance, the two that he noted or took issue with was the currency and then that bag. Aaron?
Very interesting indeed. He said he doesn't know anything about the money. Now, why would he lie about the money? Why did he not say the gun is not mine? You know, I just find it very interesting, like almost like he is some kind of patsy for this murder. It's very, I think there's more to this murder, the killing of the CEO of UnitedHealthcare. As a matter of fact, the CEO was being investigated for fraud and for inside trading. And all of a sudden, he's going to be gunned down. I just find it very suspicious. Very, very suspicious. Now, this case has sparked heated debates in the media, and journalist Taylor Lorenz shocked viewers by expressing joy over the death of Brian Thompson during an interview with Piers Morgan. Now, the exchange turned tense when Morgan asked if all healthcare CEOs deserved the same fate. Take a listen.
I do believe in the sanctity of life, and I think that's why I felt, along with so many other Americans, joy, unfortunately, you know, because it feels like...
Serious?
I mean...
Joy at a man's execution?
Maybe not joy, but certainly not empathy. Because again,
we're watching the footage. How can this make you joyful? This guy's a husband, he's a father, and he's being gunned down in the middle of Manhattan. Why does that make you joyful?
Of Americans that he murdered. So are the tens of thousands of Americans, innocent Americans, who died because greedy health insurance executives like this one push policies of denying care to the most vulnerable people. And the many millions of Americans that have watched people that I care about suffer and in some cases die because of lack of health care.
So should they all be killed then? Should they all be killed, these healthcare executives? Would that make you even more joyful?
No, that would not.
But why not?
And,
why are you laughing?
I think because it wouldn't fix the system.
You seem to find the whole thing hilarious.
I find your question funny.
A bloke's been murdered in the street. I don't find it funny at all.
I don't find it funny that tens of thousands of Americans die every year and because they are denied life-saving health care from people like the CEO. Now, I want to fix the system. You're right. We shouldn't be going around shooting each other with vigilante justice. No. I think that it is a good thing that this murder has led to America, or really the media elites and politicians in this country paying attention to this issue for the first time. You mentioned you couldn't understand why somebody would feel this reaction when they watched a CEO die. It's because you have not dealt, it sounds like, with the American healthcare system in the way that millions of other Americans have.
I've dealt with the healthcare system in various ways in America. I don't think it's perfect by any means, but the idea that I would view it as something...
Have you been denied life saving treatment?
The idea that I would view it as something joyful, that a man has been, who's just a healthcare executive, has been executed in the street, I find completely bizarre.
Indeed, I think it was a very foolish thing to say that she felt joy when the CEO was gunned down. I mean, is that really going to fix the issue with the healthcare? Yes, it's true that a lot of people are denied the health coverage that they desperately need. But at the same time, gunning down a CEO is not going to make it better. And, you know, this story will be in the news for a little while. It will be on the radar of many people as this case comes forward and the trial is underway. But is it really going to make a difference when it comes to health insurance and policies and, you know, people being denied health care when they need it, or the policies doesn't cover it when they really need it to be covered, whatever situation that they may be experiencing? Is it really going to make a difference? And I don't think it will. I think that, as I understand, Luigi had some severe back issues, so much so that he could not have private, sexual relations with a woman because of this pain that he was suffering. He did undergo surgery, and based on what they've said, that he was quite angry at the specific insurance company, healthcare company, UnitedHealthcare. But does it really resolve? It's revenge. If this is indeed the reason why he murdered the CEO, if this is the real true reason, or is there something more sinister that we are not seeing, that we're not privy to, something bigger, the reason why he was taken out, the CEO was taken out, right? So time will tell, and we shall see. But this case raises tough questions about privilege, mental health, and accountability. As the investigation continues, the world watches closely to see what unfolds next. Stay tuned for updates as we dive deeper into the evidence and the court proceedings. Don't forget to subscribe for more in-depth coverage of this and other breaking stories. Let me know your thoughts on this case in the comments below, and I look forward to hearing from you. Until next time, take care and bye for now.